Hi everyone, welcome to the penultimate episode of our AM2R playthrough.
We're almost finished?
We are almost finished. Yes, it's this and then one more. So we actually are starting in a save point different than where I ended last episode. Mostly just because I spent a lot of time getting like two very, very small upgrades. I think I got a missile tank and like a super bomb thing. Like not enough for us to really worry about. And so I was like, you don't need to see me struggle to shine spark this thing for 5 minutes.
I don't know, Dan.
We need to see the struggle. We need to know the struggle is real.
Just trust me. It is.
Just trust me. I suffered. I don't know. Is 200 missiles and 10 super missiles going to be enough, Dan? Are you going to...
I'm trying to think. I don't remember if I get more. I think I get a couple... I mean, the missiles for sure. I think I might nab a couple more super missiles. There's something else that I get, I think. I get a couple more things before we finish this off. But I'm pretty close. I'm pretty close to the a sufficient level of equipment to destroy this last boss.
I'm half expecting Mario to come out of those pipes.
Nope. Usually there's just bad guys that come out of there that you just like kill really quickly. I guess there's a certain point where they just sort of stop.
Yeah, exactly. Bad guys coming out. Mario would logically pop out of those pipes.
Or Piranha Plant.
Bad dudes.
Yeah, Mario's he's killed many innocent toads in his time.
Has he?
Yeah, well, in the Super Mario Brothers... No, Super Mario Brothers? No, the original Mario Brothers gaming manual. Yeah. It said that, or the manual says that all the bricks were toads, like of the Mushroom Kingdom. Yeah.
They're all... Wait. The bricks are toads?
Yes, the bricks, and they were converted by Bowser's dark magic. So anytime
that's
Mario...
messed up.
Yeah, anytime Mario destroys a brick, he's killing the toad. He's killing the citizens of the Mushroom Kingdom.
Oh my god. That's pretty gnarly.
It's pretty crazy. Like that shine spark. Nice shine spark.
Thank you very much. Yes, indeed it was.
I appreciate every shine spark because I'm really bad at pulling them off.
Yeah, they're terrible. Yeah. Is why you're bad at them.
Why? I don't get why they just can't map it to a button. I don't know.
Just put it on a shoulder button.
Yeah, that would be way too easy and make too much sense.
Yeah, so we're pretty much just going around. We're still doing sort of odds and ends. You know, finding upgrades, doing that sort of thing. Nothing too major. We've killed pretty much every Metroid except for the Big Mama.
As Samus does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you think this is like BioShock? It's like instead of fighting the Big Daddy, you fight the Big Mama?
That's right.
Wasn't there a Big Mama? No, that was a Big Sister in BioShock 2. I don't like BioShock 2. Ugh.
I've never played BioShock 2.
Neither have I, really.
I heard Minerva's Den was amazing. I haven't seen... everything else about BioShock 2 is pretty negative.
Was that the DLC?
Yeah, so that was a DLC. It's made by... And that DLC was specifically made by the team who went on to become Fulbright Games, who are the guys who did Gone Home.
Oh.
So it's really... It's like actually... That DLC specifically is very well regarded.
I've heard the DLC. Yeah, I've heard the DLC for BioShock 2 is pretty good, and that's made me want to go back to the game. But oh man, I don't know. I think I never beat it, but the story and the characters just weren't as compelling as BioShock 1's, and also going back to that same environment. I don't know. There was something so ironically lifeless about BioShock 2's environment, even though it's a rehash of BioShock 1.
I mean, that was a quickie sequel, right? Like that came out. It wasn't made by the main Irrational team. Had no involvement from Ken Levine, who is the head writer of BioShock and System Shock 2 and BioShock Infinite. And it had like multiplayer, which was weird. Yeah, like that game was just like sort of building up on the hype and didn't seem like it was really a particularly like measured sequel. Like that was made in-house by 2K Games, I think.
Yeah, and it felt like it was just riding off the coattails of BioShock 1.
Yeah, or it was 2K. It was 2K Marin, I think. I think that's the team that would have done it. Whatever, it doesn't really matter.
I've never actually played a BioShock game.
The first BioShock is good stuff. Yeah, I actually think BioShock Infinite is quite good as well, but there are things about it that are.
Oh, actually, no. Sorry. I'm being stupid. No, I actually have played BioShock Infinite.
Okay.
But I don't know, BioShock Infinite. I don't actually think of it as a BioShock game.
Oh, well, then there's only one technically. I think actually, BioShock Infinite being a BioShock game maybe works against it in some ways.
Like for me, I played the first demo of the first BioShock, and it sort of seemed like this is really cool, but I sort of found more fun watching it than playing it. And then I did buy BioShock Infinite, and I don't know, I never really got to finishing it. It just never seemed to click with me. And it's not that it never seemed to click with me, just that it seems like it was doing a lot, and none of it really sort of fit together. So I think I stopped halfway, and I've been meaning to get back to it.
That game's got really, it's a weird game. I think presentationally, it's very, very tight and looks incredible and all these things, and it's one of those games where it feels like they tried really hard with the storytelling in terms of how they presented it to you, and that's the same sort of care that was in the first BioShock game as well. There's a way that Irrational sort of tells their stories that works really well, but I think there's something thematically. I think BioShock Infinite is very sophomoric in that it's thinks it's really smart and isn't that much. Someone on Twitter or some other writer at one point said that game is kind of All Lives Matter the game. It's a game where both sides are bad. Yeah, white America is super racist, but also the revolutionaries get corrupt too.
Well, the game starts that way.
Tap dance.
The game starts that way, but halfway through, it just completely stops its messaging altogether, and the story and character development just drops until you get to the last bit of the game.
Well, it's a AAA game. That's sort of not surprising. But the
it's a AAA game, but it's a BioShock game, and it was in development for a decade or something. And then those games have a way of, or at least Ken Levine has a way of navigating that. So I don't think a lot of people, I don't think AAA game development is like movie development, where a studio will really dig into the nitty gritty of changing plot stuff, or being oh, I don't like how this is going to test with viewers, whatever, you have to change this. I don't think that really happens for games so much, because most AAA studios don't give a shit about plot.
Well, the thing is, for games, most of the time it ends up being oh, we're going to make this game about deep symbolism and completely just disregard it halfway through.
Well, I don't want to take the blame away from Ken Levine and that writing team. That is very much a story written by that guy, and I'm sure there's other people that had their hands on the writing too, and I don't want to take the blame away and be oh, it would have been super great if only 2K hadn't interfered. That's probably not what happened. What probably happened is that Ken Levine has a not particularly has a view of the world that is sometimes deep and sometimes extremely lacking.
Oh,
yeah,
something's here.
Yep, something is here.
Oh, now I remember this part. Yeah, I totally forgot about this ship.
Yeah, I don't think you have to do this part. I stumbled into this part from not knowing where to go, basically. But this is an optional boss.
Yeah. So what were you saying about BioShock? I played. The last thing I remember was I think I know I got farther than this, but there was a part where you have to fight some general who apparently knows your character, and I sort of got a bit frustrated with it because the game sort of treats you oh yeah, you should know this guy, they're all friends, everybody knows who Booker is. I'm just no, he's a guy who just literally just accidentally got here. Why does everybody seem to know him now?
I'm pretty sure that's a big part of the central mystery of that story.
I understand that. I'm pretty sure the plot twist is going to be oh, he used to be here, or he did something here, and something like that. But the problem is it sort of doesn't seem to present that in a very clear way, in my opinion. So it's just oh, suddenly everybody knows the main character. I'm okay, when was this teased anywhere?
I really like I think Ken Levine is really good at writing stories about like metaphysics and like weird shit like that, and like cool sci-fi things and that sort of stuff, like sort of what BioShock Infinite and the first BioShock were. And I think just like when he has to actually say anything sort of political, which BioShock Infinite is aggressively political often, he just really falls flat.
Yeah, like I mean, I can see like the stuff he's trying to do, but it's just like, I don't know, the storytelling did not seem to really work for me. So I don't know, maybe I'll like reapproach Infinite at some point. I probably will, maybe of somewhere far in the future, but I don't know. There's just something about it that just didn't seem to hook me.
Yeah, I would say don't worry about it too much. Like, if you don't get back to that game, it's no big deal.
You're really fine. Not missing much. I'd rather,
okay.
Yeah, you're better off going back to BioShock 1. Did you speed this part up, Dan?
No, when you go down, it just goes really fast.
Wow, I don't remember this at all. I don't think I did that
Race
shit.
Sonic to the bottom.
Yeah. It has a very long descent, or a very long ascent, and a very short descent.
Yeah, at least it's realistic as to how far Samus is traveling.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, about what you said about Ken Levine's writing, that's it's actually very indicative to comparing BioShock 1 to BioShock Infinite, because BioShock 1 doesn't get political in the slightest, but it does make a lot of comments about society.
Yeah, like it does. Like let's not ignore that it definitely 100% does, and it's definitely talking about, specifically, it's like talking about
class
Ayn Rand
system
type of stuff and classism and all of these sorts of things. It's just not. It's not in the same way that BioShock Infinite is like America. You know?
And the problem is, it just doesn't go anywhere from that. Like, the story becomes something completely... God, I can't really say much because that would be spoiling the end of the game, but it doesn't end the way the game really starts out.
Yeah, it's just, I would like... Yeah, I would say a lot of that stuff actually is what Ken Levine does really well. Like, I like a lot of the stuff that is sort of contained within the game, that sort of happens in the back half about like those characters specifically, and not trying to make any necessarily like wider points about the nature of America and its colonial history and all these sorts of things. Like, that stuff works for me really well in that game.
Oh.
It's the other stuff that doesn't at all.
Yeah, which is weird that the game starts off with the whole American undertones and just doesn't end with that theme.